There are different lighting techniques. The most popular lighting technique for interviews, documentaries, and even for videos generally is what is called the 3-point lighting. And just as the name is, 3-point lighting is the use of 3 lights. The first light is what? Your key light, and your key light is the main light. Now, usually your key light is supposed to be the one with the highest intensity. Then you have a fill light. And then the third light in the triangle is a backlight. Understand, I did not say a background light. I said a backlight. This is our key light. Now, when you're doing lighting techniques, the most important thing to note is that lighting techniques are determined or decided by the positioning of the light. It's how you position the light that determines the lighting technique. Okay? Now, normally, what might come to mind is, since this is your main light, people make the mistake of positioning it right in front of the subject. That's why I say somebody gave you guys expo, because you guys kept your light semi-correctly. It was not very correct, but you guys tried. That's why I said, who gave you expo? And Josiah said it was Nathaniel. Okay, good. So your key light is not supposed to be directly in front of your subject. It is supposed to be to the side of your subject, not completely to the side. Now, that is the problem. If it goes completely to the side, you move into another lighting style, another lighting technique completely. I'm going to show you what that results into before the class is over. But for the 3-point lighting, we have the light, the key light, to the side of your subject at a 45-degree angle. So it is a little above your subject's eye line, tilting downwards towards your subject. Is that okay? See the way it is positioned now. This is how your key light is positioned. It is not directly in front of your subject. It's a little to the side, either to the left or to the right, tilting downwards towards your subject. Okay? Now, let's turn the key light on. Right? The key light, because it is not in front of your subject, it's to the side of your subject. What happens is, it creates a little bit of a separation. So on this side of your subject, it is bright. But you see that all the way here like this is bright. But if you notice here, it's dark. That gives your subject some level of contrast. It gives the shot some contrast and adds some depth and drama to the shot, as opposed to having the light directly in front of your subject. Now, because your camera relates to light, if there is no light hitting here at all, your camera is going to see this place as darkness. So to prevent that, you now introduce your fill light. The job of your fill light is to add a little bit of light to this side of your subject that is not bright, that is dark. That way, your camera can tell that this place is not darkness that's here, it's shadow. There's a difference between darkness and shadow. Shadow to the camera is there is something here, it's just that there is little light. That invariably means that your fill light should be at a very low intensity. So your fill light is positioned at the opposite direction of your key light, but at a lower intensity than your key light. So our key light right there is at, let me see, I think it's about 60%. Yeah. If we turn this on, this is too high. If we turn this on, what we are trying to achieve by turning this light on is not to take away this shadow, to take away this darkness completely. We just want to turn it to shadow. So it is not completely taken away, but it just gives some light to this place. To achieve that, when we turn this on, this is 100% now. It has already taken it away. So we bring it down, tone it down, tone it down. You see, it's still there right now. It's still there, but it's not completely dark. That way, you will maintain the difference between the bright side of your subject's face and the dark side. It is still semi-dark. It is not completely dark anymore, but it's not as bright as this place. By the time you take the shot into your color grading software to color grade it, your software will still be able to see darkness here, or shadow rather here, but not thick shadow or thick darkness. Do you get it? So you have your key light, you have your fill light. This one is at 33%. It's still too much, Steph. I usually leave it around 10-15%. Another thing, get me a reflector. Now, in case you don't have an extra light for your fill light, or the light you have is a light that you don't have control over, you can use a reflector. So the reflector bounces this key light on this side, because what you're trying to achieve is just soft light on this place. So let's say, for example, I use this reflector, you see, look at the side of his face. If I take it off, now look at it. Can you see the difference? Are you seeing it? It's just soft light, nothing too much. All right? So that's another way you can. If you don't have reflector, for those of you that you don't have reflector and you are at home, and let's say, for example, you are saving for other things for now. I know it's not that you don't have money, you have money, but you are saving for other things. So you don't want to buy a reflector yet. You can use foil. You know foil paper that they use to wrap food? You can use foil. So you can probably just use tape to, paste it on a board or something that's flat, and then you use it to bounce the light on your subject. It's as simple as that. And then you have your fill light. The backlight is also called the hair light. And the job of the backlight is to create an outline of your subjects, separating your subject from the background. So when we turned it on, if you look at the subject, if you can look at the subject from this middle side, don't look at it from the side. If you want, you can move. If you look at the subject like this, you will see that the light creates an outline of the subject. It just wraps the subject around like this. That creates a separation between the subject and the background. And if the subject happens to be a lady, that's why it's also called hair light. It creates a distinct separation, especially if she's wearing hair. Come, let's stand up. Sit here. You see what it does to her hair? Normally, the hair will be sunk into the background, but with the backlight, the camera can pick individual strands of the hair. Can you see? So there is detail even with her hair. So if you're shooting a female client and she has flowing hair, you need backlight. If you turn the backlight off, what happens immediately is the hair gets lost in the background. You see? It's no longer having that distinction. You turn it back on, and you see this separation. You can now see these individual strands that are here. If we on fan now, and the fan begins to blow her hair, to do all that scenario that women like, you will enjoy the flow of the hair more because of this hair light or backlight. Now, this is one way to position the backlight. Another way to position the backlight, you can position it from here up, down. You can even fix it up here, but it should come down to the subject. Always, however, avoid it hitting your camera. The light should not hit your camera, should not feed into your camera. The important thing is that it must hit the back of your subject. So it creates outline of your subject and then gives your subject distinction and separation from the background. Is that okay? Thank you. Where's Nathaniel? Come back. Yes.